everyone. I am Dr. Munir Musa, Volunteer Director of Global Forum for Teacher Educators. Welcome to the third series of webinar, Skills Accelerator. Now today I have 3 boxes of earphones. Let me show you. This is the first box. This one is the second. And this one is the third. Now, if I ask you to select any one out of them, which one would you select? You can use the comment sections to write your comment. Maybe the first one, maybe the second one, or maybe the third one. I can see the comments. Okay. So we all have selected first box or the other box because of some rationale. But in our daily lives, appearance may be deceptive. I would like to suggest you don't judge anyone by their dressing, by their way of communication. Take time to build connectivity and explore the uniqueness. Now I would like to request Mimi, our virtual assistant, to introduce our guest of honor.
Hello, my name is Mimi, and I am a virtual assistant at Global Forum for Teacher Educators. Thank you, Dr. Munir Musa, for asking me to introduce guests. Dr. Stevens obtained both her master's and doctorate in educational leadership. These degrees are accompanied with her added degree as an education specialist. An educator of 17 years, Dr. Stevens has served teachers and students in the capacity of teacher, transformational coach, and school administrator. She currently works as an education consultant specializing in new teacher development. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Munir.
Dr. Deidrea, thank you so much for accepting my invitation. On the behalf of Global Forum for Teacher Educators, I welcome you. Over to you, please.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your warm introduction. I am uber excited today. So I see people from, well, I was told that we have people who register from 47 different countries. So I'm like, so my mind is blown because I see Pakistan is in the house, Romania is in the house. Who else do I see in here? Morocco is in the house. Who else? I see so many people giving so much love. Now listen, I am so spoiled because I love interaction, okay? So if you're gonna be on this particular webinar, I'm gonna need you to be active. So I want you to show me that you're active by typing into the comments, #ready. #ready. If you are ready for what I am about to give you today, and you're ready to engage and for us to work together today. I see you guys. Bangladesh is in the house. I love it. I see all these hearts and love. I see you, Desiree. #ready. That's what I'm talking about. Kosovo is in the house. #ready, Shaz. I see you. Awesome. #ready, Nicole. #ready, Sagar. I love it. We have a very engaged group today. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So again, my name is Dr. Deidrea Stevens. I have worked in education for almost 20 years. I absolutely love education. And I know my family members, sometimes I know they're like, Stop talking about this. I see everything from an analytical perspective, and I'm always trying to teach or take advantage of some learning opportunity. So this is absolutely a blessing to be here today. I see you, Alina, #ready. I see you. Aim, Aline, #ready. I love it. I love it. You guys are awesome, and you are on fire today. So let's get started. Are you ready? Because I am. I see all the #readies. So first, let me give warm thanks and appreciation to Dr. Munir Musa and to the Global Forum for Teacher Educators for allowing me the opportunity to be able to speak to you. You will not believe this. Hey, Oana, I see you. You said hello, and I just want to say hello to you. Hi, MJ. How are you? So you won't believe this, but as a school administrator, I used to always walk around and say, listen, I'm an international brand. That's just me. And now I really am an international brand. So I'm excited about you. I am CEO of Impact Teaching, Training, and Leadership Development. I am also, I work with new teachers, and I love working with new teachers because I really do believe that helping new teachers who are especially in low performing areas, that is our key to making sure we have equitable classrooms all over our world. Okay. So today I'm going to talk to you about what makes an effective teacher. Hey, Lenny, I see you. You're saying hello and that you're watching from the Philippines. I really appreciate you guys being engaged today. Hi from Kosovo, Romania. You guys are heavy in the house. Good to see you, Sadef. I see you. Thank you so much for joining. So let's get started. Are you ready? Let's go. So what makes an effective teacher? This is so important because being an effective teacher, it makes all the difference between your students getting from one level to the next level. Okay. And so my first tip for you all today is you have to, in order to be an effective teacher, you have got to change your perspective, or you have to make sure you have the right perspective. Okay. That is so super important. I have an online course called Entry Level Superstar that I work with teachers within that online course. And before I even start with them about strategies and things that they need to do, the first thing that I address is their mindset, because I know that it doesn't matter how many strategies I teach them, and it doesn't matter how many techniques they learn from me. If their mindset is not right, then nothing they implement will be right, and no attempt in order to help the student will be right. Okay. So the first thing that I always attack is the perspective. I did a video not too long ago. I think it was actually last week on, I believe all students can learn and at high levels, right? And you wouldn't believe the responses that I got back from people that were saying, well, but they don't all learn on the same level, and they don't, there were so many excuses that were coming in, and I am going to be bold today and call them excuses. But at the end of the day, we all know about differentiated instruction. We all know that's different. What high level learning is for one student may be different for another. But at the end of the day, you have to believe with all your heart, all your might, with everything that is in you, that all students can learn and at high levels. There is no in between. You have to be convinced of that. All students can learn and at high levels. Okay. And you have to settle that in your mind. This is the way it is going to be. Every student that comes to me is going to learn, and they are going to learn at high levels. Well, within my Entry Level Superstar class, my online course, I set that I asked all of my participants, do you believe that students can learn it at high levels? And do you know what my follow-up question was? My follow-up question was, are you a high level instructor? That's different, right? Because we always focus on the student. But in order for excellence to flow, it flows from somewhere, and it's going to flow from the teacher onto the student. Okay. So you have to know that you have to have the perspective that you are also a high level teacher. And that is why all students that come to you will learn, and they will learn at high levels, because I am a high level instructor, so that's the first perspective that you have to permeate within your heart. Okay. The next thing is you have to know that you are the expert in the room. That's a perspective or a mindset that you need to have, that you are the expert in the room, but you are not the expert in the room for just curriculum or for your content. You are the learning expert in the room. Okay. At the end of the day, you are a teacher, period. It doesn't matter that your certification is in math. It doesn't matter that your certification might be in English. At the end of the day, you are a learning expert. And in order to be a learning expert, you're going to have to do what? Learn. I see a lot of teachers and they immediately go and they try to teach. But the process is set so that you learn first, then you teach. You learn first, then you teach. So you always have to have a posture and be in a position where you are learning so that you can teach at a high level and get high level results. Everything that you are getting, and I heard this from, I can't remember who said it exactly this way, but everything that you are getting in your classroom, you plan for everything. Okay. So if the students are not learning, you plan for that. Okay. If they are learning, you plan for that. So you have to make sure that you have these perspectives in mind so that you can get the results that you really want. And there's something that I wrote down for you, and it is this, that it's not just about your classroom. You are shaping the next generation. You have to have a global perspective, even if you've never traveled anywhere, even if you've never been anywhere. You're going to have to expand your own mind. You're going to have to expand your own place. Okay. It's because it's not just about teaching the curriculum. It is about shaping the next generation. And it's not just about, the student that you're looking at. It's about the family that they represent. It's not just about the family they represent, but it's about the community that they are in. It's not just about the community they are in, but it's about the province or the state that they represent. Then it's not about the state. It's not just about that. It's about the country they represent. And then it's not just about the country they represent. It's about the continent that you're on. It's not just the continent, but it's the whole entire world. So you have to understand that your position and what you are doing affects the entire world. That's heavy. I'm going to leave it there. As they say, I'm going to sit that right there. Okay. That is heavy. That just what you do in your classroom affects the entire world. You are not just a teacher. You are a high level instructor. It's because of us that every single major is in existence. It's because of us that can come up with all of these technologies, and somebody had to teach these babies how to read. Somebody had to teach them how to, be able to process mathematical structures. And someone had to teach them the basics of science before we could see all of these inventions. So you have to see yourself. You have to make sure that your perspective is right. I see you, Shaz. Shaz said teachers are the role models for children, and you are exactly right. Okay. That's the perspective that we need to have. Okay. So you need to make sure that you believe all students can learn and at high levels. And then you need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are a high level instructor. And that is why they will learn and at high levels, because you are the learning expert, not the math expert, not the English expert, but you are the learning expert. Okay. All right. My next step. What makes an effective teacher? You have to be able to build relationships. I cannot tell you the number of teachers that I run into that they are just not good with people. Right? That's crazy. They're just not good with people. And so being a teacher is a learning experience for them, because they have to learn to come out of their shell. They have to learn to be able to relate. You have to build relationships. The amount of information that a child can hold from you or absorb from you depends on the depth and the expansion of the relationship you have with that student. Not necessarily a child, but anyone that you're teaching, right? You have to make sure that you build relationships and that you're capable of that. Some of us, we're trying to learn differentiated instruction, but before you can differentiate anything, you're going to have to be able to build relationships. Okay? You have to build relationships. You are the learning expert, but you can't be the learning expert if you don't know how to build relationships with that student so that you can learn who that student is. How can I build a learning plan for someone I don't know? How? How can you do that? You can't. There's no way. Okay. So you're going to have to get to know the student. And here's an example of this. I was working with a new teacher recently, actually. This was last week. And so I have my new teachers to submit lesson plans to me so that I can read and analyze them, because you can tell a lot about what's happening in the class based on the plan that they put together. So this particular teacher is fairly new. And, we talked about building relationships and how important it is. Okay. And so he submitted his plan to me. And on day one of school, he had all the get to know you activities. He had like everything that you would do on the first day of school, like getting to know someone, right? And then on the second day of school, he had curriculum. It was like, we're going to get started. We're going to get to work. And as soon as I read that, I said, hey, this is too much. You get to know them on day one. You ask them a few questions. They ask you a few questions. And then the next day, you immediately go into teaching them curriculum. And so I had to explain it this way. So imagine that you took someone out on the first date on day one of school. Let's say day one of school is Tuesday. You took someone out on the first date, right? That's right, Alexandra. Children do not learn from a teacher they don't like. Okay, that's so true. So let's go back to my example. So let's say you took someone out on a first date, okay? And you're getting to know them, and, you're learning, where are you from? You're asking all these introductory questions. And then the next day, you decide you're going to go out again. But this time when you pick your date up, you say, hey, you know what? I know we've only been out one day, but let's just get married. Let's tie the knot. Let's do it. Now, how many of you know that is just way too fast? Okay. I want you to put in the chat or in the comments hashtag too fast. If you know that that is too fast to go from one day we're dating and the next day we get married, just put hashtag too fast because it is. It is too fast. Hi, Haina from Pakistan. It's way too fast. Okay. So you can't move with students that quickly. And I know that sometimes we get so consumed with the amount of curriculum that we have to teach that sometimes we'll forego the relationship part. But you can move even faster if you take the time to build that relationship. Okay. So you have to be able to build the relationships with your students. How do you do that? Okay. How do you do that? I know for me, as an effective teacher, over the summer, or as soon as I knew who my students were, I called every student, every single family. I called and I spoke to every single parent. Okay. Every single parent. And I know now we have such a diverse population. The question that I always get is, well, what if they don't speak my language? Or what if, that is why you do it over the summer. That is why you do it when you have time. Okay. Effective teachers don't get a lot of breaks. Okay. You get them, but the way we take our breaks is a little bit different. Okay. Because we understand that time is the magic of education. You have to be able to use your time wisely. So over the summer, I would take some time. As soon as they told me who my roster of students were, I called every single family. And if they speak a different language, then you make time with your school officials to find someone who can translate. Okay. Me taking that one effort totally changed the trajectory of my classroom. Okay. It changed the classroom management. Just taking that one step to call every single parent. I did not leave anyone out. And guess what? If the numbers were not working, guess what? When school started, those children were the first ones that I talked to. As soon as they entered my class, hey, I tried to call your parent and the number is not working. Is there a working number for your family? Is there a way that I can get in contact with your parents? I made it my business to become a part of their families. And I'll tell you what, some of those families are my Facebook friends right now. I have students who are graduating and they're grown. I have students who are writing books now, and doing commercials. So those families and those students are still a part of my repertoire. You have to become a part of their environment. How can you build a lesson plan for people you don't know? It's hard. Even with my online course, I take time to get to know every student that enrolls. I take time to, ask questions so that I can get to know you. I can't build a plan for people I don't know. It's very difficult. It won't be as customized as it could be, and it will cause me to be slower. It will cause the process to slow down because now I'm building the plane as I'm flying it. And that's what I see a lot of educators doing, building the plane as you're flying it. You don't even know who you're teaching. You have no idea what these families are going through. You're asking or creating assignments that doesn't fit their environment. You're asking them to do things that is way outside of their financial comfort zone, because you don't know them. You're asking them, or your expectations are not appropriate for the audience that you're teaching because you don't know them. Okay. You're using words that are way beyond what they know how to comprehend right now because you don't know them. Right. I'm not saying that you have to, I don't want you to water down anything, but you do have to slow the process down. Sometimes the learning process is very strategic. It is very strategic and intentional. And what I see right now is people just walk in and you just gonna stand in front of people and talk and you don't even know them. You can't do that. So if you're doing that, stop it right now. Just stop. Cut it out. Okay. So make sure that you know the people that you are teaching. Know those that you will be working with. Okay. Know the students that you will be working with. Take some time and get to know those families. And I promise you, you think that you're going to lose time by doing this, but you're not. You're going to gain time. I had a teacher, and I told that teacher the teacher gave me her plans to view. And as soon as she told me the first 2 weeks of her plan is going to be getting to know the students, I had no need to read her plan anymore. And I said, you know what? That is great. You have to make sure you get to know your students. Take 2 weeks. It takes time to get to know these students. Call every parent. Talk to other teachers about them. Make sure that you're playing so that you can learn what their strengths are, right? So these are things that effective teachers do. Okay. So I don't have like the presentation to show you how it works or whatever, but I'm definitely available if you ever want to ask me a question. Okay. All right. So I see someone said we discovered new things about our students during classes by using different items. And thank you. That's right. As an ESL teacher, I'm sure that you all use quite a bit of differentiated instruction for your students. That's right. So my next point. So one was your perspective, right? In being an effective teacher, your perspective that we believe all students can learn and at high levels because you are a high level instructor. Okay. And that is why they're going to learn at high levels. All right. And then 2, able to build relationships. If you can't build relationships, this is not a job for you. Okay. I'm telling you something that someone wants to tell you, but they're afraid. Okay. They're afraid to tell you this, but I'm telling you, this is not for you. If you are not able to build relationships, okay. You are welcome for the inspiring ideas. You are so welcome. Okay. Very good, Daniela. She says she talks to every family during the first semester. I'm sure she is one of the effective teachers that I'm talking about. That is so true. That is so true. You guys have some great comments over here too. I am reading. All right. So my third point, you have to be, you ready? A data beast. Okay. Listen, I get excited when you start talking about data. I'm like, woo! I get so excited. Okay. Because you have to be able to collect qualitative data and quantitative data. So for those of us, there probably are some of us who may not know the difference between the two. So I'm going to take the time. Quantitative data has to do with numbers, averages, when you give a test. And thank you, Aniela. She said I'm amazing, but thank you. But quantitative data has to do with, you give an assessment and you grade that assessment and you take the grades and you try to see who learned it, who didn't learn it. That's quantitative. Okay. Numbers, quantity, numbers, right? Qualitative data has to do with like the exercises we were talking about before. When you're calling the parents and you're getting information, you give a survey or you're observing an environment, how the student responds, all of that. But in order to be an effective teacher, you have to become a data beast. Data beast. I need you to type hashtag data beast. That's what I want you to type in the comments right now. Hashtag data beast. Okay. You have to know not just how they performed on the test, but you need to know, or assessment, you need to know why they did not perform on the assessment. Because you, as an effective teacher, I take it personal When you don't understand something, if I'm teaching something and you don't get it, I take it personal. Because why? Because in my mind, I'm a high level instructor. So you're going to get this information. I don't know how, but it's going to happen. Okay. So you have to keep track. You can't just talk for hours and there's no assessment. Even throughout your lecture, right? Oh, I see we got some data beasts in the house. I love it. Okay, even throughout your lecture, who wants to hear you talk for 50 minutes? And I know I'm talking to you now, but yeah, hey, I'm working with what I have here. Okay. But if I were teaching you for real, no, you got to have some assessments. And I would even say me telling you to type in hashtag data beast every now and then or hashtag whatever is an assessment for me to be able to see who's paying attention, who's engaged, where who's not engaged. That's what this is all about. When you are teaching these students, do not talk their heads off. You are on a specific mission, like a direct mission. And that mission is they have to learn it at all costs. I don't care what it takes. If we have to sit here, one time, y'all, I was teaching and I'm from the country of the United States. Hey, man, I grew up around woods and I would try and change my accent, but I'm not. Let it amuse you today, okay? So, and I see this question and I'm going to come to it. Patricia Ingram, she said, should assessments be done weekly? And I'm going to answer that. But in any case, I was talking about how, learning is a mission. You have to go after it. And if they don't learn it, the first question should be why? Wait, what happened? Because I know I taught it. Let me go back. Let me look at my planning structure. Was it taught right? Did I form my plan correctly? And if I form my plan correctly, did I implement it right? Okay. Notice that I haven't gotten to the student yet. Do you notice that? When things don't go right, we immediately go to the student as if what we're doing can't possibly be wrong. But sometimes it can be us, right? So the first thing I do when my students don't get it is I ask why. I go look at my plan. Okay, let me make sure it's aligned. Is my plan aligned? Okay, if my plan is aligned, let me go back and look at how did I implement this? And this is where videoing your plans come in handy. Videoing your instruction comes in handy in times like this, because now I can go back to a video and say, let me look at how I delivered that. Okay. All right. So you got to go back. And if I delivered it correctly, now I go to the student and I say, okay, let me look at the assessment. Is the assessment designed correctly? Is the assessment aligned with my plan? Yes. Okay. So if the assessment is aligned with my plan, let me look at the questions. Do I have questions on the assessment that maybe the students wouldn't understand? Did I forget to share with them or expand their vocabulary? Do they understand what's being presented? Was the question asked correctly? If the question was not asked correctly, then now I know a lot of my students missed this question because it wasn't asked properly. So it had nothing to do with either the student's knowledge or my delivery. The question just wasn't asked properly. Okay. And then from there, I go to, all right, well, how many students missed this question? I really dig into my data, and I'm telling you to do the same thing, because when it comes to differentiated instruction, right, and being able to provide each student with whatever they need in your class, if you don't have a strong data system, it is going to be very difficult, and you will find yourself guessing all year long about why students did not succeed. You don't have to guess. Just make sure you have assessments in place. Someone just asked, okay, should I have assessments weekly? Yes. You should have assessments weekly. And guess what? You should also have assessments every 15 minutes. Oh, I just blew your mind. I know it. I just blew your mind. I know it. I just blew your mind. I just blew your mind. You're asking about, should I have assessments weekly? Yes, you should have assessments weekly. But you should also have an assessment. You should have assessments every 15 to 20 minutes in your class. There should be a question that you ask that helps you. You should have an assessment at the beginning of class, okay? To measure what they understood from the day before. You should have an assessment at the end of class to make sure the objective that you had for the day was accomplished. How many times are you writing objectives on the board and you never measure to see if you accomplish that objective? How many times? Right? You probably do it all the time, and it's so easy to do that. I write my objective on the board, or I have my objective in my lesson plan, but oh my God, time ran out and I didn't get to do my assessment. No, you need to make sure your pacing is appropriate so that you can do your assessment. I don't care what happens. I don't care what you cover. I would rather adjust my assessment than to not do an assessment at all. So when I say adjust your assessment, it means maybe you plan on giving 4 questions at the end of class as the end of class assessment, right? Or what we call an exit ticket. Maybe you gave 4 questions for your exit ticket to the students, but maybe you only covered 2 of those questions. Cool. Let's just adjust the assessment. I'm going to give you the assessment, but I only want you to do questions 1 and 2. All right. And don't do 3 and 4 until you cover 3 and 4. Okay. Someone has some questions over here. Okay. I see how you are asking questions to the students asking questions to the students is very essential. I see that Heina and a couple of other people asked how, and I think I answered that question, but if I did not answer that question, I want you to put it back in the comments, okay? Let me go through. I think I have a few more questions. How can you do that with 180 students in a class? Oh, Louise. Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked that question. Technology, man. Technology. Okay, there is a website called Plickers, Plickers. Okay, so if you are face to face, you can do it using Plickers. Okay, that allows you to take your phone and you can just scan the class. So that's one way, right? The second way is on the Google platform. You can create a short quiz or something like that, right? If you are every 15 minutes, if you're talking about the every 15 minutes, how do I do that? It's as simple as asking a brief question at the end of, well, here's what I say anyway. If you are lecturing, right? If you're lecturing, Plickers, yes, Plickers, Plickers, P as in Paul, okay? What was I saying? Okay, with the 180 in every 15 minutes, how do we measure what students know? So there is a pacing that I use with my new teachers. I actually use it with all teachers. So it's a circle. I tell them to draw a circle of their time, right? So let's say that time is 60 minutes, all right? I tell them to divide it in half and then divide it in fourths, all right? Each line represents an assessment or a question that you are going to ask. Well, the first assessment is going to be whatever opener you have for class. So that might be a bell ringer, a warm-up. Some people call it a warm-up, or it might be an essential question that you ask that has to do with what you're doing in class, or what you have done in the past, right? So you can do that quickly with some technology, or just simple thumbs up, thumbs down. I mean, there are so many different ways that you can measure to make sure that students understand. So that first line is going to be your assessment. Then this line is going to be a quick question. Okay? Quick question. All right? It can be something like a think, pair, share, where the students pair up and they're talking. That assessment may not be measured as quantitative. It may be qualitative. It may be you walking around listening to the comments. It may be you doing a random call. Okay? So let's say I have 180 students. I'm going to let each answer represent a certain number of students in my class. That sets an indicator for me that when I call a student, if they don't answer me correctly, then I know I have at least this many other students who probably don't understand, the biggest bang for your buck with 180 students is going to be your end of course, your exit ticket that you're going to give at the end. All right. But during class, you're going to ask questions. Okay. And you're going to monitor the answers for the students. Yeah, I see Samson is saying Kahoot, and there are learning apps. I mean, there's so much technology. You don't have, if you're grading papers like with your hand, you're doing that because most of the time you want to, or either you're an English teacher and you have to read essays. And I'm telling you right now, I probably would pay somebody to read my essays right now because I hate reading those things. All right. So let me see. I see you guys have a lot of, yes, teaching is also an art. Menti.com, I'm not familiar with, Ramona, but I can look that up and get back to you later about that. Okay. I think I've answered all of the questions. Okay, guys, I'm down to new comments over here. So thank you, Mariana. Okay, if you still have questions, put them, I'm going to ask you to post it again if I didn't answer your questions, okay? All right, so post it again because I'm looking, all right? You want to pay attention to students, the way they talk, the way they answer questions. That's important, okay? That's important to your content literacy, all right? You want to make sure they're thinking along the lines that you want them to think, okay? All right, let me go to my next point. So I said perspective, right? I talked about you have to be able to build relationships then, and I just finished talking about you have to become a data beast, that you eat data. You eat it. Wow. Okay. You got to eat it. You have to eat it. All right. So you have to become a data beast. All right. So my next point, plan for student learning, not to complete a curriculum checklist. Listen. Okay. My teachers used to call me a lesson plan whisperer. And it was so hilarious to me, okay? So a lesson plan whisperer. The reason why they would call me that is because, yeah, me too, Giannina. I think I got your name correct. You said you love data, so do I. You're so welcome, Melda. Okay, so you ready for my next point? You got to plan for student learning, okay? Not a curriculum checklist, all right? So my teachers used to call me a lesson plan whisperer because they would bring their plan to me and I would ask so many questions that they did not think about as they were planning. The only thing that they thought about was, I have a standard, I'm going to create an objective, and from that objective, I need some activities. Okay? And that is wrong, like X, wrong. Nope, nope, nope. No, that's not how you plan a lesson. You have to know the chemistry of your class. What do I mean by that? An effective teacher knows the chemistry of her class. So he or she has already, they've called parents, they understand the background that the students are coming from, but they also understand how the students learn. When I say what is the chemistry of your class? It means, let's say you have 4 periods a day, 4 different classes a day that you teach. Let's say the first class is full of mostly auditory learners, right? And then you have a few visual learners in there. And then the second class, you have mostly visual learners, and then you have a few auditory learners, a few kinesthetic learners. See, if you don't know the type of learners or the makeup of each class, you're going to plan a lesson to fit just one group. And then, if they learn it, they learn it. And if they don't, they don't. That is not good, guys. And that is not an effective practice. You have to, yes, think about the standards that you have. Think about the objective that you are trying to reach for the day. But you also have to think about what type of learners do you have in that class. And then you create a plan based on that. There may be an assignment that I tell first period or my first class to do that I may not offer to my second class, because my second class is full of different types of learners. They may not be ready for the assignment that I might offer the first class. And it's okay, because what I do as an effective teacher is make sure that no matter what assignment I offer, the assignment is going to give me the same information. It's going to tell me whether or not the students understood it or not. Either way. Usually when I teach, I give a choice of assignments. And I know that's a lot of work. I know. But I'm telling you, it pays off, and it is definitely worth it. Okay? So have some choices. First, you need to find out what type of learners you have in each class. Okay? What type of learners do you have? What type of learners are in each class that you teach? Are they auditory, visual? Are they kinesthetic learners? They like hands-on? You need to know all of that, okay, before you just start planning. Okay, that goes back to, how do you plan for a class or for students that you don't even know? Okay, you need to know what type of learners you're serving so that you can create the plan that works. Don't just put together activities and hope it works. We don't hope in here. We don't hope in our class, because we are high level instructors, and our students are going to learn at high levels because we are high level instructors. So as a high level instructor, I'm going to make sure that I create a plan that is tailor made for this chemistry of class. I'm not saying every single student, because that is a lot of work. But if you take the time to see what type of learners you have in a class, you make the plan according to the learning styles that are represented, right? For me, I had all types of learners in my class. And in that case, I just had a choice. I had choices of assignments. That's what I had, choices of assignments. Okay. All right. My next point. An effective teacher understands 2 things. You ready? An effective teacher knows that only 2 things can happen every single day. And before I tell you what they are, I'm going to see if you know what they are. What 2 things, and for those of you who are looking for a model, I am doing an assessment right now. Okay. What 2 things happen in a class every single day? What two things happens in your class every single day? I want to see what comments I get in here. What two things happens in your class every single day? This is called wait time. I am waiting. Okay, I see teaching and learning process. Teaching and learning process, okay. I see someone is asking me to recommend an online style questionnaire. For me, I usually use, I create mine in Google Classroom. All right, what two things happen every day? I see interaction and modeling. I see, hold on, my screen is doing something. Okay, curiosity, student's voice. I see learning and teaching, okay. Attendance, I don't think that was for me. Okay, I see that a student is either excited or bored in a class. Ooh, okay, that's good. Okay, let's see. I see teaching and learning again. Learning and personality. Wow, you guys have it coming in so fast. I can't even get to it. I love it. Okay, let's see. Modeling and inquiring questions. Teaching, interaction, and assessment. Good. That's three things, but two inevitable things that occur every day. Creativity and imagination. Okay, empathy process. Playing, okay. Creativity, creative, motivating students, building relationships, okay. Discussion and analysis, even I love those things, okay. I'm waiting. Oh, you guys, no one has said the answer I'm looking for yet, but this is great. This is great. All right. Notice how I'm not saying that any students or any person in here that their answer is wrong. And that's something that we need to practice as teachers, being able to make students explain their answer before you just say it's wrong, right? Because we are a thinking institution that frowns on students thinking sometimes. So let them think, even though it's wrong, or you may think it's wrong, have them explain their answer. All right. Teaching for life, learning, listening and speaking. Learning and feedbacking, okay? Building relationships, right mindset to a high level learner. Oh, I see. I got some people with their perspective right. Okay. Teaching and creativity, learning, evaluation. Okay, awesome. You guys are, okay, you're thinking along the right lines, okay? And I'm not going to say that any of your answers are wrong, because I'm sure if I asked you to explain it, your answer would be right. However, what I am going to say is, for the context of which I am speaking today, these are the two things that happen ultimately in your class every single day. You ready? I know. You ready? Let me see hashtag ready. You ready for me to tell you? I know you're like anxious, and so am I. All right. So the two things that happen every single day in your class, either students will learn or they will not. Those two things. At the end of the day, either they will learn or they will not learn. Okay. And your job as a teacher is to plan for both of those things. Now, here's what we do. We plan our lesson and we don't really think about if they didn't learn it, right? We just plan the lesson and we go for it. And then when they don't learn it, we act shocked every single day. Every single day, we are shocked. It's like, oh, they didn't learn it. Now what? No. In your learning process, or in your planning process, when you are planning, that is when you start thinking about, okay, that once you have your plan together, when you finish, you need to be thinking, what if they don't understand this? Okay. What if they don't understand it? Now, what is my next step? You should not be shocked when some students don't get it. And that's the difference between an effective teacher and just someone who teaches. Okay. An effective teacher has already thought about. Now, an effective teacher, I'm telling you, these are the thoughts effective teachers have. When they finish their plan, they go through their plan and they're thinking about it like a surgeon thinks about surgery. You are the surgeon of the mind. You are the surgeon of something no one has ever seen. No one has ever seen the mind. We have seen pictures of the brain, but no one has ever seen the mind, right? And as a teacher, you are the surgeon of the mind, okay? You are the surgeon of something we've never seen. So you're going to have to go through this process and be very strategic and intentional about what you do. So when you go through your plan and you get to your exit ticket and you're like, okay, what if they don't get it? Okay. And then you plan your direction. If they don't get it, this is what I'm going to do. And what you're going to do cannot always be, I'll just cover it tomorrow. No, do not let your students leave your class with those misconceptions. So you want to make sure you plan enough time within your class so that you can correct them before they leave. Okay? So that you can correct misconceptions before they leave. All right. So you want to make sure you plan something other than, oh, I'll just cover it tomorrow. No, you might cover it tomorrow, but you want to make sure that you at least close the day by saying, okay, Julie, Shaz, Lynette, tomorrow, I noticed on your test or on your assessment, your exit ticket that you answered B. The correct answer was D. Help me understand, why did you answer it that way? Awesome. Well, let me direct your thinking. I want you to think about this, and that. And then tomorrow when you come in, I am going to continue to clarify this information, okay? Don't let them leave thinking that they are right. No. And then something else that happens. You ready? Something else that happens is you have students that get it right. And I was hired to transform an advanced academic program. Okay. That was my job. That was the turnaround job. And I was like, what turnaround job? But I interviewed several students that were in the advanced academics program. And I said, talk to me about your class. Tell me about the advanced academics program. How do you feel about it? What do you think you should do? Right? So, or what do you think we should do? What are some things that get on your nerves about this advanced academics program? And so one of the students made a statement that I will never forget. She said, well, Dr. Stevens, the teachers, because we are smart, they feel like we can learn on our own, and we can't learn on our own. So we end up leaving the class with no more information than we came in with, because they just give us assignments and then they just let us go. And we end up having to teach ourselves. So they just gave me a soft reminder that I had like 5 minutes. So I'm going to tell you this. Make sure that you're planning for both your struggling learners and your advanced learners. Your advanced learners still need you. They are the ones that make you grow, because now you're going to have to study. You're going to have to get yourself together and learn more information, because you're responsible for taking those babies deeper into the content. But you can't do that if you have not studied the content yourself. Okay. And let's see. I saw a question over here. I'm going to try to get to. before I leave. I can't find it, but you can always hit me up in my inbox. I will tell you my last point. I think someone asked me what were I can't remember. They asked me about the 2 things that happen every day. I can't remember. But my last point is going to be, we take on the burden of student failure. And I think I have expressed that throughout this entire webinar, right? That as an effective teacher, you never look at the student and say, why didn't you get it? Why didn't you do your work? Why didn't you turn it in? No. As an effective teacher, when a student fails, I take it personal. Just like when a student succeeds, I take it personal, right? But when they fail, I take it personal because I am a high-level instructor. I'm going back to number 1. You ready? I am a high-level instructor. My students learn at high levels because I am a high-level instructor. And I think that's what I'm going to close with. I want you to type in the comments, my students learn at high levels because I am a high-level instructor. That's what I want to see in the comments. My students learn at high levels because I am a high-level instructor. I know that's a lot, but that's what I want to see. My students learn at high levels because I am a high-level instructor. Listen, you guys have been awesome today. Feel free to hit me up in my inbox. Feel free to sign up for my entry-level superstar class or talk to me about it. I have lots more information, but you guys have been wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so on the behalf of Global Forum for Teacher Educators, Deidrea, I want to express deep appreciation to you. This was a helpful webinar for teachers, and what an energy. I just want to ask one question before you leave. Yeah. How did you get that much of energy? We want to know the secret.
The secret is I am passionate about what I do. I love it. I just love it. This is what I do.
I think so. All the teachers should love the profession. I think so. All the teachers should love the profession. They should take the ownership. I think so. They can get the same energy level like you have. Thank you so much, Dr. Deidrea, once again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.